Hello and welcome to Fiona's Creative Canvas. I'm Fiona and today I have this canvas. I had this idea that I was going to use tissue paper and create texture, which I did, but I think the way I laid it just messed things up. If you have a look this way, to me it looked like some mountain range, and then I tried to create something with a tree here. Didn't really like it, so then I thought let's just chuck some color on top. I didn't like the way that was going, so I'm going to completely change this. So you know, this is a good canvas, so I want to make use of it. So I've grabbed out my joint compound and I've put some into a piping bag. I haven't tried piping it before, so we're going to give that a go. I've also put some in this cup and mixed it with a small amount of water. Now be careful when you're adding water to it. You don't need very much, so just do small amounts at a time. I've also grabbed out this sand texture medium that I haven't used before. So what I'm going to do, so I'm going to pipe my edge. I'm going to use this watered down compound and just stiffen up this tissue paper that I used, because it had a few air pockets in it, and every time I put paint on it, it feels like it's not quite stiff. So I'm going to add that all over here to make that stiffer. Do a nice sharp edge, and the sand I'm going to use and swipe this way and create a sand texture on this side. And then what I'm going to do once that's dry, I'm going to go Payne's grey crazy. This side I want to basically keep one color, and this side I'm going to do something, but I haven't quite decided what yet, so stay tuned for what happens there. Let's just start. I might use a brush to get this stuff down first. Hopefully I've got it thin enough. I may need to add a bit of extra water. Let's have a look. Shall I use my hand? I'm going to use my hand. I'm going to put a glove on. So this is a 18 by 24 inch canvas. That seems to be working all right. Got to be careful though. I don't want streaky marks, so just having a look where my edge is as well. I'm going to spray that with a bit of water. Looks like I'm just the right amount. Right, so I'm going to wet my hand. I'm going to give this plenty of time to dry, so a couple of days. Okay, I think that should be okay. Next, I'm going to do my sand texture, and then I will do my edge to separate the two halves. What's this like? Ooh, interesting. This is the Montmartre Premium Sand Texture Medium. I don't really know how this is going to work, but I want to get it close to my edge. Let's use the hand to get it close to the edge, and then I'm going to spread it that way. I'm getting dirty today, but with the glove on. Actually, I think this glove is too big. I grabbed the wrong one. All right, let's see how this goes. Always thinking of beach. Like, is this waves? We're coming into the sand. I don't know. It's not where I was going to go. My plan is to go black, Payne's grey or something like that. So we're getting a couple of different types of texture. And now I'm going to do my piping. Hopefully that's enough. And I don't want it very big. Probably bigger though, because what I'm thinking about doing it and then just a slight blend this way. I'm going to go bigger. Right. I'll put a bit of water back in this cup just so I can wet my finger. I think this needs to be a bit bigger. It's got quite the lip. Looking forward to seeing how the paint goes over this sandy texture. And hopefully I haven't lost too much of my texture here. So I'm going to let that dry. Alright, so I've come back to this and it's nice and dry, but I have ended up with a few cracks. So what I thought I might do, someone did actually ask me about cracks recently, said they were having issues with cracks. It seems to be just where I've done it quite thick, and I don't know if it's because I added the water to smooth off my edges on this side as well. But I've got the modeling paste out and I'm just going to use that because I think this is a little bit more flexible, just to fill those cracks basically. It's not a big deal for this piece because this is supposed to be a little bit rough and I wanted lots of texture, so cracks can give an interesting texture, but not if you don't want them. So I'm just applying a little bit to those spots and then I'll smooth it off again. And I would like to paint this piece today, so it's early morning, so hopefully that will give it enough time to dry, because it does say for this the working time is drying time 30 minutes for every 5 millimeters. Obviously the paint will fill the cracks a little bit as well, but I just thought I'd show you what I'm doing to sort out these cracks. I could come back over with the joint compound if you don't have modeling paste, because it wouldn't be as thick the second time you do it. So There we go. All right, I'll let that dry and then we'll come back in and we'll start our painting. So that's dried on the cracks. You can still see a hint of a crack, but I don't mind that. But what I want to do now, I'm really hoping that this texture is going to show. I want to paint that all Payne's grey. I'm going to do my edges, and I am going to do this edge as well. But I think with this rough surface, I want a mixture of black and white, basically, Payne's grey and white, and then some hints of gold. This will be gold along this edge. Maybe just black here. Maybe the defining point of this will be the texture. We'll have to see how it comes out. So I've got a bit of pouring paint here, and I thought I might use that because it might be a little bit easier to spread. So let's just try a bit. I'm going to use my 4-inch paddle brush. I've also got some Payne's grey there that's not pouring paint. I might put a little bit of that down as well. Let's see how we go. So I'm just going to get in the crevices here. I want to make sure they're covered. Okay. So this is pretty much dry. I've just touched up a few little spots. I probably could do that again. The texture is really good on the edge. It's a little bit flatter. Might be this light though. Yes, it does look better standing up, I would say. But I'm going to work on this side now, and then I'll come back to this side if I need to. So I want to go straight across with blacks and whites, or Payne's grey and whites. I'm going to use this brush, but I also have a palette knife that I could use, which could be useful. So I've got that as well. And I'm just going to dab on some colour, I think. And blacks on the ends. You know, I haven't done this type of thing before, so I'm not really sure how it's going to go. And I guess what I do want to do, which I might just turn this around this way, because I want to push this white up here. You probably don't need to go all the way in. Alright, I can go over it multiple times. I can let it dry and start again, so let's not get too hung up on it. Need more paint though on the edges. I'm going to wet my brush, just dampen it on the end, just to help move the paint. Alright, here we go. Ooh. Okay, I have picked up a lot of black. It's possible my brush is too wet, so I'm just going to take a bit of water out. On this side, so I can leave the paint on the other side. Alright, so this is getting a bit grey. Picked up a bit of the white there. I'm going to get another brush just to feather that out a little bit. Probably going to have to paint over this again to get my lip, although it will be gold. Alright, so what I'm thinking here is that I'm going to be going over with some palette knife strokes over this sandy stuff. So that'll give that, bring out that texture. I'm not sure, maybe I should use palette knife like that. This other one here I can use for the Payne's Grey. I might go over the whole thing with the black and then we can add some highlights. Cool. Alright, I'll let that dry a little bit before I come over with the white. Let's try adding some white highlights now. Like that. Okay. The next colour we're going to use is gold. Okay, I'll just let this sit for, about 15 minutes or something. I've still got a little bit of wet paint here, but the rest of it's kind of touch dry. So I've got my gold here. I decided to go with a mix of Amsterdam light gold and Extreme Sheen 24 karat gold. That's the Deco Art. And I want to be really careful about how I apply this. So I don't want to go overboard. So I'm just putting a really small amount just on the end. And let's see. Right, I might use this paint that I have left over to paint this, and then I'm going to, once that's dry, I'll go over with this. Let's just have a look. yeah, because it's a different colour, I think I'll do the bulk of it in this colour and then add some highlights in that colour. And then I think I'll have a better idea of what I want to do, depending on how this looks. It looks a different colour, and I think it's because it's on the black, so I think I will have to do another coat. Okay, here is the final result, and I'll bring you in to see this sand texture because it's I like it. It picked up the colours, the gold and everything from the palette knife quite well, and then I like the lip with the gold on it. I didn't add the pen because the gold in that's a little bit of a different colour, so I wanted to keep it the same. And then this side we have the texture from the tissue paper, and I just left it as a texture. I particularly like the top texture here. I applied that piece different than I did this one. It was much better when I put the glue plaster mix that I used straight on the canvas and then crunched it up on top. That worked well. Yeah. I think the overall piece, I mean, I can show you the other direction. Let's have a look. You could hang it that way, but I think I prefer it on the portrait. So on other news, I have just released my website to sell some of my art. This one's not up there yet, but it's taken me quite a while to get all of my pieces up there. I've got so many now. So I'll put the link for that in the description, and if you want to purchase anything before the end of September, I've got a discount code for 15% off, which is Grand Open. So feel free to check that out. I'm only delivering to a few countries at the moment because that was a lot more complicated than I expected. So I will be looking into expanding in the future. So that's it for this one, guys. I hope you enjoyed it, and I shall see you all in the next one. Bye.